Not too bad, actually. I'm surprised. I slept.
You know what it is. It's Starcade Media Live right here at SFC The Catch, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Powered by Verizon, by the way. Leonard Willaims, our guest currently, Seattle Seahawks defensive tackle.
Yes, sir.
Fresh
What's
off
up?
of a marriage, apparently.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
How's it feel? I thought we were going to have one last guys trip here, but I guess not.
I mean, the cool thing about her, she allows me to go on guys trips still. But yeah, I just got back from my honeymoon. Literally just landed 2 hours ago. And yeah, it's definitely the most exciting thing I've done this offseason so far. Is we had our wedding in Anguilla, and then we just had our honeymoon in Seychelles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we heard you're an expert spear fisherman, but how's this differ in the kind of strategy? Do you feel confident about this?
It's a lot different, but I still feel confident. I grew up fishing majority of my life with my dad. I just haven't done a lot of deep sea fishing, but I'm also confident in my crew. I feel like the crew's gonna, I believe in teamwork, and I believe I'm not gonna be the only one out there doing all this. So, they're gonna take care of me.
When you have an off season like this, how important is it to have events like this to be able to go to? A lot of people might do celebrity, golf tournaments, things like that. Here, this SFC The Catch, man, this is the third year of it. NFL players, there's a lot of camaraderie, and to be able to go out there on the high seas and battle it out, like this is an event like no other, is it not?
It really is. I mean, I think it's really important. Like you said, there's golf events and stuff like that, but I think it's important to just keep highlighting, athletes' lives outside of, when they're in pads and helmet. And, fans really like to see them as a person and, their interests and hobbies and things like that. And not everyone's good at golf. And me specifically, I try to get out there sometimes, but I much rather be on the water, and I feel like I'm a fish and I like to be in the water as much as possible. So this is like something that's like really tailored towards a person like me. And I'm sure there's a lot of other athletes that are here that feel the same way.
Yeah.
Now, you're from Daytona Beach, right? And so growing up, did you do any kind of deep sea fishing like that? Did anybody take you out there, show you the ropes?
Yeah, my dad took me fishing a lot, but we would go out on those like jetties. You know how the rocks would like go out into the ocean, and we would catch like snook and like big reds, like drum, like all that type of stuff. But I never gone deep sea fishing, like out on a boat, catching like sailfish and tuna and stuff like that. So this will be my first time. I've caught tuna before, like spearfishing, but never on a rod and reel. And the biggest fish I've caught so far, like out in the water on a rod and reel, is a I'm trying to remember the name of the fish, amberjack.
Oh, yeah.
So if that fish gave me such a fight, I'm actually surprised. I'm like, I'm looking forward to see what this tuna or sailfish will do.
Leonard, when I started following your career at USC, and I found out you were from Daytona, Florida, and you think about the lineage of schools in Florida, University of Florida, Florida State, South Florida, even FAU. You've got the U, Miami, FIU, and yet Florida guy, top-rated recruit, gets out of Florida, goes to USC. How the hell did that happen?
I mean, I love that question because that's like a question that I've gotten for the last 20 years of my life. You know what I mean? It's like, am I that old? but yeah, it's like I was actually committed to Florida for a while because when I was growing up, Tim Tebow was there, and all these guys, they were a dynasty at that time, and so I grew up a huge Florida Gator fan. I was rocking like Florida Gators like back flap in high school, and like whenever the recruits would come, they pretty much like already thought that I was going to be a Gator because I was like always wearing Gator stuff. But then I took a official visit to USC. I also went there for a camp, like a 3-day camp, and Coach Ogeron was coaching me as the D-line coach, and he was the selling factor for me. I mean, he was.
You could like understand him, and you're like, "Hey, I relate to this guy."
I couldn't quite understand his language or voice, but I understood what he was energetically what he was giving me.
That says a lot about him.
And then I also just fell in love with California. Like when I went out there, I just fell in love with the campus, and for me, getting kind of out of my situation at home was actually a little bit better for me.
Yeah, and so growing up Daytona Beach, going to USC, drafted by the Jets, then the Giants, and then coming out to the Pacific Northwest with Seattle. Just kind of talk about the different locations and how you feel like that fits. Florida big, California big, New York big, and then kind of a quieter Seattle in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's definitely quieter. It's cool though because I feel like I've lived on like each corner of the states. I really love Florida. I really love California. That really fits my type of lifestyle more. I like to be in flip flops year round or barefoot if I can, in shorts. You know what I mean? No shirt. I fell in love with New York though because I was there from age 20 to 29. They always say New York is the best time to be there in your 20s, and I can by experience say that it is. It was a great time to be there. But at the same time, now that I'm 30 and I'm settling down, just got married, I feel like the Pacific Northwest is a great place for me to be. It feels like a very family-oriented place. Even our organization feels that way. It feels like a family, and it's a lot slower, quieter, and it's perfect timing.
I mean, you do get solicited to vote for weird things when you go to Walmart in Seattle, but other than that, yes, it is a little quieter. You probably have had to vote for some weird stuff that you didn't know existed.
Exactly.
but you as a defensive tackle, talk about turning 30, and we're from Kansas City. Chris Jones, of course, has been a stalwart in Kansas City for a long time, 3 Super Bowls, and what he's done, and you think about like what Aaron Donald was able to do, past the age of 30, and just do you feel like that there's an age in the NFL where you hit and you're like, oh my God, this is not as easy as it used to be, that there's little things missing, that maybe it's off the ball, maybe it's speed, strength, like have you felt like that's happened to you at all?
I surprisingly feel like it's gotten easier. I don't know if that's been the take from anyone else, but for me, it's like when I was younger, I probably had more energy and endurance and things like that. But like now I'm just wiser,
savvier.
Yeah, savvier. I also feel like I just have like more like grown man strength now. When I was younger, I felt like even now, like sometimes looking back at myself when I was like 20 years old in the league, I was just like, what was I doing that young in the league? You know what I mean? I just didn't have near as much strength as I do now. So I had to put up even more of a fight to go against like double teams and things like that when I was younger versus like now, I can see a double team before it even happens, just based off of alignment sometimes, like their eyes, like the smallest little details. And then I also just don't have to physically fight as hard. And it's like I can easily like lock a guy out now, and it just feels like a lot simpler to me.
We'll talk about going up against a guy, like you said, we're from Kansas City, a guy like Patrick Mahomes, and how maybe you've got some help on that front if you ever do face him again, maybe in a Super Bowl, because you re-signed Jarran Reed, you guys signed DeMarcus Lawrence, how much that's going to help you, and then facing Patrick Mahomes.
I'm super excited that we brought Jarran Reed back. He's a guy that I played with for the last 2 years now, or a year and a half since I've been on the Seahawks. But I think when you really allow players to play together long enough, you learn each other pretty well. So it was the same way I was in the Giants with Dexter Lawrence. It gets to a point to where we can look at each other and kind of communicate without saying anything. And that goes a big way on the defensive line when we kind of have to be in certain pass rush lanes and things like that. So sometimes I could like look at him and let him know that, I want to take an inside move on this guy. So like cover me, you know what I mean? And, Jay Reed's a great player. So I'm looking forward to just keep building that relationship with him. And then DeMarcus Lawrence, he's a stout run defender. He's just a vet. So we have a lot of vet talent on the D-line right now.
How important is it to you that your off season kind of detaches you from football, or does it? Or do you feel like that you're constantly grinding, constantly zoned in, or is it really important to be able to, hey, go get married, come to SFC, the Catch powered by Verizon, and just cut it loose? Like, or can you kind of separate the two things?
I mean, I can separate them, but at the same time, I love football and I love what I do. So I'm the type of person who like kind of stays in shape and is constantly thinking about football, even when I'm not doing it. But at the same time, I'm a huge advocate for balance. I think if you're doing too much of anything, it's going to be bad. If you're doing too much work and you're too invested in football, I think like at some point it's going to set you back. I think there is something that comes with balancing your lifestyle with, getting your mind away from work sometimes, and like you said, like doing these fishing tournaments and going to get married and like hanging out with my friends, going golfing, going fishing and things like that. So then when I am time to go back for football and work again, it's like I have excitement to work again. It's not like I'm just like running to the dirt.
Yeah, and talk about just kind of this event that the SFC puts on and your excitement for it and how you're going to be the champion this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I feel it. I don't know.
Spoken into existence, baby.
Yes.
Like you got, I mean, what do you got to, do you go in with like, hey, we got to pull in like a sailfish. You got to pull in. I mean, do you think about that? Like, hey,
yeah, for sure.
You know what you have to do?
I think everyone here is competitive, like by nature. Like we're professional athletes, you know what I mean? It's like I doubt anyone here is like here just like, yeah, like I don't really care if I win or not. Like everyone's here like, yeah, I want to win. And that's exactly how I feel. And then I'm really looking forward to catching a sailfish as well, just because I've done a ton of fishing most of my life, and I've even caught a bunch of tuna, spearfishing, and things like that. But I've never caught a sailfish, so that's like on my bucket list tomorrow.
We're cheering for you, Leonard.
Wish
Thank you
the best
so
of luck.
much for
Thanks
being
so
on the
much.
show, man. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Best of luck this week. Thanks for coming in right off the plane, man.
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Thank you.